McLaren's Zack Brown is firing shots and it's getting intense. Brown isn't thrilled about Red Bull and Alpha Tauri's partnership, and he's not holding back. He says they shouldn't work together due to a conflict of interests. What's brewing in the F1 world? Let's dive into the video to know the drama and find out what's really going on. The aerodynamics factory of Alpha Tauri is now located right next to Red Bull's. According to Zack Brown, something will definitely be happening. This move is seen as a significant development, especially after McLaren had a successful season and wants to compete for the top spots in the next season. Brown sees Red Bull as their rival and wants to do everything to stop them from progressing. Red Bull is facing scrutiny both on and off the track. The relationship between its two F1 teams is becoming a focal point. In 2024, Red Bull Racing and the rebranded Alpha Tauri team will share the same base in Milton Keynes. Despite Red Bull's efforts to distance itself from being a junior team, Alpha Tauri is considered secondary in competitiveness, popularity, and relevance compared to Red Bull Racing. Questions are raised about the collaboration between the two teams, especially with the increasing competitiveness of Alpha Tauri towards the end of 2023. Critics argue that owning two distinct teams in Formula One can create issues, and the existing rules that permit such close working relationships are being criticized. The skepticism about Red Bull's methods is rooted in the rapid performance improvement of Alpha Tauri towards the end of 2023. Debates have sparked about the close collaboration between the teams, and complaints have been made about the existing rules that allow such close working relationships. McLaren's stance on Alpha Tauri. McLaren has openly declared its concerns, with Zack Brown dictating on record that Alpha Tauri's car is considered the best in low-speed corners. This fuels the fire of debates and concerns regarding the collaboration between Red Bull and Alpha Tauri. Alpha Tauri significantly upgraded their car at the end of the 2023 season. These improvements, especially the major overhaul in Singapore, have caught the attention of rivals. Notably, parts from Red Bull Racing's RB19 were adopted. Despite Alpha Tauri attributing its performance improvement to aerodynamic development, questions and skepticism persist. Zack Brown, McLaren's CEO, is actively questioning these upgrades. In an open letter, he called for a ban on common ownership in Formula One. While not explicitly naming Red Bull or its sister team Alpha Tauri, they are the only two teams with shared owners. Brown emphasized the need to enhance fairness and competition in Formula One, suggesting changes in regulations to prevent influence from spreading between teams through strategic alliances and ownership. Calls for rule changes. Brown highlighted an opportunity to improve processes in Formula One. He proposed strengthening values of fairness and competition during negotiations for the next Concord Agreement. Brown pointed out that in most major sports, ownership of two teams within the same league is prohibited due to potential damage to competition. He emphasized the unhealthy impact on decisions on and off the track, including access to data, sharing components, personnel, and strategic voting influence. According to Brown, the current situation is unhealthy and not in the spirit of regulations. He stressed the importance of standing up for independence, competition, and fairness. Brown expressed the need for changes in regulations to ensure that influence does not spread from one team to another through strategic alliances and ownership. He envisioned Formula One being true to its brand, with every team, except power units, being totally independent of each other. Brown believes that Formula One fans universally value fairness in competition and a level playing field. He rejected any actions compromising the true spirit of competition within Formula One. Brown argued that sharing information, shared ownership models, and strategic alliances would only undermine fans' belief in fair and fierce competition. Red Bull's moves raise questions. Christian Horner, Red Bull's team principal, insists that they strictly follow the rules, and there's no indication of any wrongdoing from the FIA or any other governing body. He emphasizes their commitment to sticking to the letter of the law. Even before Zack Brown penned his open letter, he was a vocal opponent of common ownership in Formula One. Brown expressed significant concerns about the partnership between the two Red Bull-owned teams. His open letter called for a ban on common ownership, stressing the need for fairness and competition. The main point sparking discussion is Red Bull's decision to move a significant part of the Alpha Tauri team from Faenza, Italy to Milton Keynes alongside the Red Bull team. This shift raises questions about the motivation behind Red Bull's choice and introduces increased challenges in monitoring compared to the previous setup. The reason for the move is unclear, leading to speculation about whether it aims to gain a competitive advantage for both teams, either within or potentially outside the existing regulations. This uncertainty prompts discussions about the implications of Red Bull's decision, especially considering the close relationship between the two teams. The move resonates with every team in a similar position. With its advantageous relationship with Red Bull, Alpha Tauri was challenging to beat this season, often securing points at the expense of other teams in the same competitive bracket. For example, McLaren is concerned about Alpha Tauri consistently snatching points away from them. Two key factors contribute to the current situation. First is the introduction of the cost cap in Formula One. This limits testing resources, including time in the wind tunnel, CFD testing, and simulations, all subject to specific hourly limits. Second is the evolving test landscape, where teams face constraints on testing time. Red Bull may potentially leverage Alpha Tauri's resources for their testing needs, given their own reductions in testing time due to cost cap breaches in 2021. FIA oversight and challenges in policing team collaboration in F1. While it's not confirmed if cross-utilization is happening, questions arise about the effectiveness of FIA oversight. The FIA, tasked with regulating practices in Formula One, faces challenges overseeing teams due to the cost cap and restricted testing resources. The ownership of two teams introduces the possibility of strategic collaboration, raising concerns that were less relevant in the past. The current state of affairs adds complexity, especially with teams operating nearby, potentially manipulating resources or gaining strategic advantages that compromise the integrity of the competition. Discussions in August about relocating Alpha Tauri's R&D center to Milton Keynes echo arrangements between Haas and Ferrari. This move adds to the intricate web of collaborations and resource-sharing dynamics in Formula One, intensifying concerns among mid-tier teams about fair competition. Recognizing potential issues, the FIA has eliminated advance notice for their team visits. This change aims to prevent teams from discarding documents or concealing questionable activities, showing a commitment to maintaining fair play. Red Bull and Alpha Tauri serve as a prominent example of common ownership. The recent shift of a significant part of Alpha Tauri's team to Milton Keynes prompts questions about the motivation behind Red Bull's choice. The concerns raised by Zack Brown about potential strategic collaboration appear justified, given the close relationship between the two teams. Similarly, Mercedes and Aston Martin share facilities such as a wind tunnel until Aston Martin's new facility becomes operational. Aston Martin emphasizes a robust relationship with Mercedes, employing separate entrances for confidentiality. However, the dynamics differ from Red Bull and Alpha Tauri, as the latter are under the same ownership. Zack Brown's concerns about potential strategic collaboration and resource manipulation appear justified. His strong stance on issues like Red Bull's alleged cost cap breaches adds credibility to his current concerns. With recent changes in FIA oversight practices, the focus is on ensuring fair play and preventing any compromising activities that could affect the competition's integrity. Future challenges and controversies in F1, a point of contention in Formula One, needs addressing over the next few months. Statements from Red Bull and the FIA in response to concerns will be crucial in determining how they intend to prevent potential issues from arising. While Alpha Tauri did undergo significant upgrades in 2023, the motivations behind these improvements are more self-serving than geared towards hypothetical benefits for Red Bull's main team. Red Bull's parent company communicated the urgent need for the second entry to enhance its performance, indicating a potential sale if Alpha Tauri doesn't become more efficient and successful. The reshuffling of personnel in early 2023, including key figures like head of aerodynamics Dickon Balfour and former Red Bull and Aston Martin senior aerodynamicist Guru Joel, played a crucial role in enhancing aerodynamics, particularly in the rear end of the RB19. Alpha Tauri's improvement occurred gradually, with the late-season surge reflecting the team's realization of its potential rather than continuous gains. Determined effort and real-world data. The team's determined effort to overhaul Williams for 7th place in the championship at the final round earned around $20 million in prize money. It also provided valuable real-world data for finalizing the early version of its 2024 floor. The pace of upgrades was notable, highlighted by the lack of spares in Abu Dhabi, indicating urgency, potential shortcuts to expedite production and cost reduction. The relationship between Red Bull Racing and Alpha Tauri is a typical supplier-customer dynamic in Formula One. Red Bull Racing team boss Christian Horner dismisses comparisons to the controversial pink Mercedes situation in 2020, emphasizing that Alpha Tauri determines its success independently. Discussions have surfaced about the possibility of Alpha Tauri's 2024 car resembling an RB19 clone. Rivals are less concerned about this prospect, instead rebranding the second team into a more overt Red Bull 2 and sharing a campus with a geographical link between the teams sets this situation apart. It poses a unique challenge for regulation and becomes a notable source of ongoing suspicion and paranoia in the F1 community. Zack Brown's suspicions about potential collaboration and manipulation remain uncertain. Only time will tell whether the paranoia in the F1 community will be true, as none of us, unless working in Milton Keynes, can confirm or refute Brown's concerns. So, what do you think of the recent drama at Formula One? Comment below and subscribe for more.